Welcome back to the Millennial Mindset episode 2, or like a full-fledged episode 2. Today we have a new guest. Really quickly, we're not doing a video version of this. We're just doing an audio because it was last minute, like 10 minutes ago, last minute. We have a new person to, if anybody doesn't know, which I don't know why anybody wouldn't know if we're following like our lives personally, we have Britnee Scott.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Man, it's so hard to book a schedule with you because it's you live so far away.
I know.
And getting you to come on the show.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to be able to pencil you in and make this work out. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think initially what I wanted to do, which I think I still want to do, just don't have the tools yet, is have like multiple people of us, you, me, Heather, and then whoever else, hell, Emilio from the Core Mindset, plug, and Jordan, and literally, like, if I can have like a group discussion, that'd be cool. But
get a whole group of us millennials in here.
A whole group of millennials. Tell people, if you are not ashamed, of course, tell people your age and if you're a millennial.
Yes, my name is Britnee. I am 28 years old, and I am a millennial. I was born in 1991.
I think the early 90s is like the stereotypical millennial.
Totally.
Because I think people in the 80s, they're all millennials too, all of them. 81 to 96, I believe. And everybody in the 80s, like, they're deep in their work career, but I don't see them as like millennials, though they are. But I think when I think of millennials, I think of like our age group, not the later end, but like we're like in the smack middle of the generation.
I think it's always kind of weird once you get to closer to the borders, whether you're going by decades or something like, millennials versus Gen X's. Obviously, the 80s children are going to be a little bit more tied towards that direction of Gen X, even though they fall under the millennial category because they're elders.
What makes a Gen X a Gen X?
I don't know. I think it's usually like something along the lines of like lifestyle mindset, just their way of doing things. They tend to be a little more, I think, old-fashioned-esque than us in comparison, the mid-millennials, if you will.
Do you know any Gen X's? Like real Gen X's?
I mean, personally, not anybody very close.
Gen X sounds like a boring generation.
I think my mother's considered a Gen X.
Is she?
Yes.
What year is she born, or are we not allowed to say?
67.
I don't think that's... I don't know. Isn't the 60s baby boomers? Because that's when everybody was having kids.
The last year of the baby boomers was 1964. So I recently discovered that my father is the last year of baby boomers, which threw me off because I associate baby boomers with my grandparents' age. Or at least my mother's mother.
My dad's a baby boomer too.
Yeah.
What?
Blows your mind, doesn't it?
Yeah, because they don't act like baby boomers.
Well, my father, I think, acts like a baby boomer.
Oh, is he filthy rich and sitting fine on all his investments and stuff like that? Did he buy a house when it was like dirt cheap?
No, just talks about how things were better in the olden days, and insert racism here, prejudice here, a little bit of sexism over here, just a little mix in the pot.
Okay, so what I have here, I hate to burst your bubble, but according to Google, so it has to be right. I think it has to, because it's Google. The period of Gen X is 1961 to 1981.
Interesting.
Gen X. And according to Wikipedia, because I don't know anything about Gen X, talking about from the show of millennials, Gen Y, like Gen X is a cool, like, I like X. It's promiscuous, it's symmetrical. I just like Gen X sounds like a badass generation, and I don't know anything cool about the Gen X people.
What I associate the Gen X stereotypes with is the open era of sex in the like 60s and 70s, like motion, labeling, or I guess bringing...
Wait. If they started in the 60s, they weren't having sex at 4 or 5 years old.
No,
That's
no,
their
no.
parents who were all the hippies and all that
Right.
fun stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just saying during that period of time, I mean, you had.
Let me correct you right there. You were right. One of the paragraphs says the Gen X childhood coincides with the sexual revolution,
Thank you.
but not in the 60s.
Well, I said 60s to 70s.
They were having sex when they were 10. Anyway, they don't. Okay, Gen Xers were children during a time of increasing divorce rates, the sexual revolution. They saw an increase in latchkey children. I don't know what the hell that means. Latchkey. I don't
When
know.
I think of latch, I think of breastfeeding.
Politically, Gen X, at least in the United States, are coincide with the time when government funding tended to be diverted away from programs for children, often directed towards the elderly population, which cuts Medicaid programs for children and families. I don't know what that means.
It sounds like they were
They were-
starting to steer money in the direction of the baby boomers and the prior generation beforehand, taking care of the elderly.
Gen Xers came in an age where children, and I guess growing up, were exposed to the crack epidemic.
AIDS also as well.
AIDS. They were the MTV generation.
Yeah. They also, I think, were
AIDS.
the prime rock and roll generation and the starters of highlighting gay as not a mental disability or some type of crippling, disease.
Gen Xers. Well, I guess the Gen Xers would be the people who, I mean, if I really put some thought into it, they would be the ones who were leading kind of all the things that we have now, like with Microsoft or Apple, Facebook. No, Facebook. I don't know how old Zuckerberg is, but I think he's a millennial. I think
I would imagine he's
a millennial. I think he starts dividing away. Jeff Bezos is old and he owns Amazon. I think he's a Gen Xer. Okay, so Gen X people are the ones who are the new millionaires, billionaires, exception of the Zuckerberg, which I'm pretty sure, yeah, he's a millennial. He has to be. He's too young. Anyway, so I don't even know how we got on that subject. I don't remember. Oh well. Enough about that, Jen. I really don't know how we got on that subject. It's bugging me.
We started by talking about where the generations lie. You asked me if I know any Gen X's, and that's my mother. Yeah.
You know what's funny? I think the Gen X people are the ones who's like, you millennials. Part of the reason why I think I wanted to start this podcast, I was telling this to Heather. Her name is Heather Perez. I don't know if you've met her.
We've met.
You've met? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. Inside joke that only you and I will get. Because I think only you and I will listen to this podcast. No, Heather will. First of all, I think it was cute that I heard you listening to our podcast. I'm like, Heather's over? And I don't hear you talking, but I hear a lot of her. And then I was like, what the hell is Heather talking about? She sounds passionate about something. And then I go, wait, what the hell am I talking about? I sound about, hey, wait a minute. I was like, wait, what are you doing on the phone with me? Oh.
Have to be supportive of
So Heather, I know you're going to be listening to this, and you better show the same intensity as Britney did. Okay. But like I was telling Heather in the last episode, the reason why I think I was inspired to make this podcast is because of those damn Gen Xers. Because they were the ones. I remember growing up, people in my leadership in the military, certain parentals, you and I know, just oh, you millennials. And then they just kind of be like, millennials this, millennials that. And I'm like, you don't know shit. So I felt like, if anything, they helped inspire this so they can kind of get to know. And also so we can kind of poke fun at our own stereotypes as well. But then we can also show how we're better than every other, because we have to be the most egotistical. Because we're the ones doing the podcast. I don't see a podcast called Gen X Mindset or whatever, because it doesn't roll off the tongue the same way.
I will never forget the first millennial-esque joke I've ever heard. I think I was maybe roughly about 13 years old. Definitely in the awkward stage of my life. And I heard that this was back when they referred to us as Gen Y, not millennials. The joke made to me was, do you know why you're called Gen Y? And I was like, no. They're like, because you ask a lot of questions. Why? Like, I can't.
And guess what? Now we're more independent and sustained than any other generation.
We are adulting at our fullest capacity.
I think so. I can't speak for everybody, because I understand when they be like, oh, millennials, when you see like the SJWs out there with the multicolored hair, no offense,
Triggered
people, triggered and all that stuff. Like, I get where it kind of comes from, and I don't discredit that and their pushes towards things, but I think they brought that upon themselves to kind of give that label to us, but like that really doesn't define us, because I can say that doesn't define me and that doesn't define you.
There's a lot of different definitions of what it is to be a millennial. I mean, it's almost like saying that everybody the age of 37 acts exactly the same. It's not. We are all very different in our own ways. It's just that there's something about the current generation that we live in. We are the future, and we are driving things in a particular direction, off of the Gen X's and prior the baby boomers. The thing that I associate every time I hear somebody say, oh, you millennials, is that they're just older generations that they just don't understand. And this is not the first time it's going to happen, and it's going to happen continuing on, and it's happened in the past. Gen X's, I mean, I was just talking about this the other day with my mother, that she's one of the people that says, oh, you millennials. It's like, okay.
No, not her.
But, with that, I brought it to her attention. I was like, okay, well, you can't tell me that your baby boomer parents were never like, oh, your generation. And she's like, well, yeah, they did. And I was like, correct, because that's what we do. We change the movement of time and try to make things better, escalated different in our own ways. We leave our own markings that, the idea is that we're supposed to evolve and change with time. And, people who are used to, being in their own, little bubble of there's certain things, they're raised a certain way. They have their own mindset that they built. They tend to stay that way after a while. But growth doesn't happen from that. And that's where, the younger generation, aka millennials, us, we make changes. They don't like change. It's very uncomfortable. And that's where the millennials comes from.
But like, when it comes to when I hear like you millennials, I hear it as like, oh, you entitled crybabies.
It's definitely I definitely always hear it in a little bit more of a derogatory like slur, like,
which is why I wanted to own it. Like, this is like, yeah, you bet your ass I'm a millennial. And guess what? Before I'm 30, look at all I've accomplished. Wow. Yeah. I look at people like, no offense to my dad, but he had me at 26. And when I was 26, I'm just turned 29, so I'm 29 now. And I think about how much independence I've gained over the last decade, how no other person has done what I've done. And I'm saying like on a macro level, like I'm sure there's individuals too, but I guess what I'm getting at is that like this sense of entitlement, like I've never associated myself with entitlement, and I don't think I surround myself with people who are my age, so millennials, who would associate themselves as entitlement people, like welfare check collector, whatever the derogatory term is supposed to be, when it comes to like hand-me-downs and stuff like that. I think if anything, I'm living proof, and the people I surround myself with, living proof that we are we've earned everything that we got. And we sure as hell busted our ass to get to where we're at. And if anything, we've had to get the shit end of a stick a lot longer than any other generation, especially like the baby boomers or the Gen Xers, because the economy was doing so well back then, and everything has kind of just fluctuated so much that you couldn't live on your own on a minimum wage. I couldn't live on my own on a minimum wage. And I think back then when they say minimum wage, it was like, oh, well, it's supposed to be a stepping stone type of a thing. Yeah, but maybe in some scenarios, some people get into their first job, which is supposed to be a stepping stone, and they really like it. And they stay there, and this is not the generation where you stay in one career for forever and you retire after 40 years of work and they give you a ring or a Rolex or whatever. This is now the economy today. We move around on different jobs and stuff like that. I know I do by trade of my work, but then I think of people like you where your first like real full-fledged job, you found what you loved before you graduated high school, and now you do what you love. You couldn't survive on your own making just that money by yourself, affording what we have built.
No, unfortunately not. Yeah, it definitely has been a very intimidating process. Whenever I feel that people like much older than me are kind of comparing me at this age to where they were back at that age. I remember once being told, like, when I was 21 years old, I owned a Camaro, and I'm 28 years old and I would love to own a Camaro. It's like, but I just don't have that type of money like that.
Yeah.
And it's just not that, feasible anymore. I mean, if you talk, the older generations, they also grew up in a time, at some point where they could live off one single income and they can like buy a house and raise a family and be very comfortable. I have one parent at home, typically mom and then dad out on the workforce, and everything was fine. They were comfortable. They were able to take even family vacations, that type of thing.
Can I be the stay-at-home mom?
You know what? I'm all for, gender equality, stay-at-home dad, stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home whomever, you identify.
Can I stay at home with the kid, or do I have to work from home?
You need it probably dual income, for our economy. So you're going to have to work from home, along with picking up housework. And
I don't want to do that part.
Okay, well,
I don't want to pick up the housework.
Well, that's unfortunate. Maybe if you have a stay-at-home job where you can afford to add a maid on top of it, then that'd be totally worth it.
You get that job. You get you get a thing where you can get a stay-at-home maid, and I just stay and hang out with Kika. Hey, we do that one. I like that one.
The ultimate American dream.
Stay at home and have a Kika.
Yeah, so I definitely I have never been in the financial position. It could be because I'm in California. It could just be because this is what it is to, be an adult these days, but it's hard for me, even with the career I love, to make enough ends meet, to actually live on my own. I can't. It's like,
do you think that bred us? Do you think that bred us to, or at least trained us to become codependent on people?
Oh, definitely. If it's not codependent on, a relationship with somebody that's romantic with you, it could be codependent on, a friendship or, somebody else as a roommate. I would much, love the opportunity to be able to have my own space, and have that, that growth period, get to know me, that type of thing. But in reality, nobody can afford that these days. And it's hard when I hear, like my elders, my peers, if you will, talking about, how they owned a house by now, they, and all this stuff. And I just can't. And I don't blame my career choice. I just, it's just not made available anymore.
Do you think that's why people also are waiting longer than ever to have kids? Because they can't afford it?
That's kind of
where
I am. If they
can plan.
That's where I'm at. It's like per my own research amongst, like friends and, people along the age group. I mean, the only way you can really afford to have a child is pretty much out of wedlock on the welfare system. It's like you do things, quote, the right way, where you get married, but you don't have a good enough, job to actually give you like good benefits, if your job even offers it at all. It's really expensive to have a child, like just to give birth, not even the appointments leading to it.
One thing I noticed is that we are like actively being the prominent generation so far that, actively choose not to have a kid yet. Like, we're...
And there's a lot to that too. Like,
I think income, I don't know if, the thing is, I don't know if income is like the leading factor. Like for me, the reason why I don't want a kid.
Great fear.
Yeah, but like you see a lot of people doing just fine. We know people that are our age and they're doing, they're getting by.
Yeah.
I can't say if they're doing fine or not. I don't know, but I know that they're getting by. And so I know that's like, it's possible. I know people who got pregnant in high school. Like, that's still going to be a thing. Like, but those are the outliners.
Yeah.
I think, like, majority of people, I look at all these people that I went to high school with, for example. I see them on Instagram, and most of them still don't have kids. I know people who are married, and most of them still don't have kids. And I think maybe it has to be a money thing. But for me, it's like, I don't have kids yet, and I don't plan on having kids in my 20s because I wanted to live and live for me and be selfish for a while.
And I think that's kind of where a lot of the majority's like mindset is just kind of waiting and taking advantage of all these things. We learn from others' mistakes, or at least I do. You know, some people don't. Some people just repeat the pattern. But for me, I came from, I came from two parents that were relatively young when they had me, and I knew that they were missing out on some things, and that kind of rolled into my childhood. So for me, like, from what I learned from that experience is that I don't want to be that type of person to my own child. I want to be, I want to get out all of my like wild years, my experimental years, my travel years. And then once I'm kind of just tired and bored and ready to just chill at home and, talk toddler, with a tiny human, then that's when I know it's time to have babies.
So you don't feel like your maternal clock is ticking yet?
I mean, it started, I think, popping in like a little bit, like over the past like couple months, but it's something that, in my mind, I can still kind of rule out like I have plenty of time. Like, I remember, a lot of people were saying like, pretty much early 20s was like the way to go. And that was the trend for a very long time. But then we realized, with the internet, you're able to look up medical reports and journals and such, and it shows that women are not at risk for having birth or having a child like later in life. The only time you really have to be very like careful is when you're like pretty much pushing like your early 40s, and that's when you have to do like additional testing to rule out like things like Down syndrome and stuff like that. But I mean, so a woman in her like late 20s, early 30s, even like late 30s, having children for the first time is still relatively safe. And I think once, we had that information given to us, our maternal clock, if you will, started, ticking just a little bit slower, knowing that we have a little bit of time. So there's not as much stress to, jump on the bandwagon. And it's kind of nice. I feel like you definitely get more maturity, more life experiences when you wait. I mean, a child fresh out of high school, I mean, I was obnoxious as a teenager. I could not imagine, like, I would have been
as a teenager?
But I would have been a really crappy mom, if I had given birth, like around like 18 years old. I think I didn't finally like calm down until maybe like 26. And even still, I kind of wonder what I'll be like, 2-4 years from now.
Do you think you're going to get back into your party phase? Woo!
No, it's not my thing.
But like a quarter life crisis or something? Oh my God, I've got to drink a beer or something. Yeah.
No, I think I pretty much know who I am at this point in my life, and partying is not really my thing. Clubs gross me out. It's like I feel dirty even just stepping inside of one, let alone touching anything. Randos, coming up and hitting on me, not my thing.
Oh yeah, so it's the same. I hate when they hit on me.
It's like online dating, like, I don't know, just nightlife is just obnoxious. If I want to go out, I would love to go to, maybe like a little cocktail bar, have a seat, and have a conversation with a friend, without having to yell over the loud music. And
you said online dating. Got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever used Tinder?
No. The last time I fiddled with online dating was like way before Netflix and chill. So we're talking like,
eHarmony or Christian Mingle.
Oh my God. Okay.
Were you on Christian Mingle?
No. I never went on any religious site. I never identified on religious sites.
I hear the religious ones are the freaks.
You never know. It's always the quiet ones. You watch out for those. So in 2009, that was the last time that I I fiddled with online dating, but even still, the website that I used was more of a social platform. It wasn't necessarily meant for dating. It later turned into a dating site. It was at the time myyearbook.com, very much like a very chintzy.
Wait, what's it called?
My Yearbook.
So it's like Facebook, but yearbook?
It was actually designed like MySpace. You can completely customize everything. MySpace name drop. But you can completely customize.
If you had a MySpace account, you're a millennial.
Yeah, a cool one.
Yeah. If you know how to HTML, you're a millennial.
Yeah, so how it was designed, it was like MySpace where it was customizable, like your social platforms like, Facebook and Instagram, that type of thing. You post your photos, write your bios about your stuff and all that. But then there was a tab like under like the find friends where you can like flirt with people. And it was almost like the swipe right, swipe left type of thing, except it was like, like flirt or pass type of thing. And then whenever I got matches, I got notified. And that's how I met my my ex of 3 years. And after that, I realized big mistake meeting people on the internet, not doing that ever again.
I was like, so you don't believe in online dating? You don't think it'll work still?
No, I mean, everybody has their own thing. Like, I understand that there's some people that just don't have time around their work schedules, to go out and do it the old school way. Just for me, I've learned, from past experiences that I much rather meet somebody in person. Go with a little bit more of a natural take on it. I don't like online dating. I think it's too focused on images than like actually getting to know a person. I don't want somebody to, ask me out for a drink just because of my photo. Like, could we add like a little bio about myself, my age, what I do for a living, that type of thing.
Doesn't Tinder have all that?
Yeah, but Tinder.
Bio, age, what you like to do?
You know what? The last time I saw my friend use Tinder, it was literally just photo. It was name, I think age, and then just their big picture.
Was it a guy or a girl?
It was a girl looking for guys, but
so all she saw was like dicks out.
No. The dicks come out in the messages, in the personal messages.
Yeah, I hate getting those too.
Unsolicited dick pics, don't like those. I mean,
Apple's coming out with the new emoji that is like a pinching, like goes like this, like I'm gonna pinch you.
Yes.
And every woman is going to use that every time they get a dick pic. They're gonna respond back with it, and it looks like an inch.
Oh, I would. I totally would.
Do you still get dick pics right now?
No, I don't. No, it's like, but having being, a female that's breathing, unfortunately, those have came my direction time and time again, over the past 10, 15 years. So it would have been nice back then to be able to do a little pinchy face, afterwards, instead of just automatically blocking them.
Okay. We're going to play a little game.
Okay.
I Googled this and you didn't know this was going to happen. It's called, there are only 6 types of millennials. Which one are you? Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions and you have to answer them. Okay.
Sounds like a Cosmo quiz.
This is BuzzFeed. Close enough.
The modern Cosmo.
Okay, let's start off light. Oh boy. Okay. Which 2018 movie would you take a first date to?
Okay.
Black Panther, A Star is Born, A Quiet Place, Incredibles 2, 8th Grade, or Avengers: Infinity War? 2018 film, so last year.
Considering that I don't go to the movies that often.
First date,
I think I'd probably choose The Incredibles.
Okay, Incredibles. You're at a party. Where are you most likely to be found? Running the beer pong table. All right, bitches, let's do this. I can see you doing that. At the perimeter with a few close friends, following the host's dog around, mingling with the core crowd of guests, dancing to the music. I wouldn't be at the party.
I would be hanging out on the side with a couple close friends.
Okay. Which of these fake college courses would you totally take?
Oh boy.
Adulting 101, how to build your personal brand, intro to food photography, advanced laundry folding. That one. I'm not even gonna. Meme science, how to fake it till you make it.
Ooh, well, I specialize in how to fake it till you make it, way long ago.
So which fake college course would you totally take that you would want to take?
Probably Adulting 101.
No, you're laundry folding. I gave you 101. But
I don't want to take laundry folding.
You have a literal...
I choose not to fold my laundry. It is a waste.
I have everything hung up in here.
I'm about to rewear it the next day or the next
disgusting.
5 days. No.
Get it off the floor. That's where bugs live.
They would be on my bed if somebody wasn't taking it up the other side.
Kika. Pick a word you just can't stand. Yeah, yours is in here.
Oh God.
I did not know. All these words are so. I've heard these. Okay, I know this one. You should quiz. I will know which ones. Okay, pick a word you just can't stand. My default was to say puss, but I think it's puss. It's one S. P-U-S. Is that puss or puss? I think it's puss.
I don't know. Either way, it's gross.
Okay. Pubes. Moist. Moist. C page. I don't get that one. Panties. What the Phlegm.
Let me see. What is this? Phlegm.
That's how you spell phlegm?
Oh my God. You know what word is. You know what word gets under my skin.
Puss. Puss.
No. The other P.
Phlegm. Panties. Why don't you like panties? Why don't you like that word?
I don't know. I think maybe it was just overdone when I was a child. It just grosses me out.
Do you not like panties?
No.
Do you not own panties?
I wear underwear.
No, that's not what you call them.
Like an adult. Yes, I do.
What do you call them?
No, it's called underwear.
No, that's not what you call them.
Chonies.
Chonies. All right. With the snap of my finger, I can instantly gift you one of these things. What do you choose? Slightly improved focus concentration. Only slightly, though. More self-confidence. 8,000 Instagram followers. Oh, they got the gram involved in this. A greater tendency to stay organized. You better wish for that one. Pretty okay dental insurance. No, okay, that one. Wait, hang on.
Triggered.
A $300 Amazon gift card. Why does the dental insurance trigger you?
Because I just got back from the dentist yesterday.
And?
I spent 3 hours in the chair getting prepared for 2 crowns and a deep cleaning.
Hours.
Yeah, but I was getting work done consistently for 3 hours. I was gone for 5 total. Yes. And that's a lot of money. I had to take out another loan.
So you would want pretty okay. It's not best. It's just pretty okay dental insurance.
I mean, I guess I have pretty okay dental insurance.
Okay, so which of those 6 stood out to you?
It's still dental insurance.
Oh, so you want more?
I want
prettier. Okay.
I want prettier. Okay, dental insurance.
Okay, if my date blanked, it's a deal breaker.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
If my date still regularly texts with their ex, it's a deal breaker. If my date smokes cigarettes, it's a deal breaker.
Sounds like somebody I know.
If my date has no goals for the future, it's a deal breaker. If my date, okay, remember date, then you're not even in a relationship yet, just date. If my date doesn't make me laugh, it's a deal breaker. If my date has one or several too many drinks, it's a deal breaker. At one point, I would have said that one. If my date is severely allergic to dogs and or cats, it's a deal breaker.
I think that's a little insensitive.
It's a date.
So, date. You know,
You don't even know their parents' names yet.
regularly text with their ex is definitely a flag for me. But I mean, if it's just a date, that could easily change with time. Smoke cigarettes. I'm neither here nor there. I don't like kissing people right after they smoke. So that can get old really quick. Let's see. I mean, doesn't make me laugh. I mean, after first date, I mean, that's like, it's a little too much stress. Honestly, I think the biggest one for me is going to be has no goals for the future, because most of those people are on the internet. They're online dating, and they literally have no goals for themselves. They're literally just chilling out in their parents' houses, bumming at, 30 plus years old with no fucking ambitions.
There's a lot of people
Pardon my language.
30 plus, still living at home.
Yeah.
Not doing anything.
I can respect those who are older, still living at home, because they actually have an established savings and their goals are to do more with themselves, like buy a house. I can respect somebody like that. If I was still living at home at my age, that is exactly what I would be doing, is saving up for the greater good, not throwing money into, a hole in which rent and never see it again. But people who are completely dependent on, not saying anybody, because I mean, we're dependent on roommates in California, but, dependent on their parents, and, because they don't have financial responsibility. They don't have maybe social cues, that type of thing. Those are the people that I am definitely concerned with. And those are the type of people that I typically will not associate myself that much with.
Well, good news is you probably won't even find them in the first place because they don't leave their home.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm sure they have to come out for air once in a while, but
not with
even fish make bubbles.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready to find out which millennial you are?
What millennial am I?
You got spiritual millennial.
Yes.
You're spiritual.
Queen.
Yes, queen.
Go with me. What is the spiritual millennial?
Yeah.
Is there any details on that?
Yes, there is. But this is our congratulations clap.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is a non-clapping zone.
This is a perfectly summed up little quiz.
Okay, let's see. You're spiritual, but not necessarily in the traditional religious sense.
Loving this.
You earnestly subscribe to things like astrology. Oh my God. When it comes to assessing the viability and compatibility of current and future relationships. And it's actually worked out pretty well for you. I really hope it's more than just astrology, because that's stupid.
You're such a Pisces sometimes.
I hate you so much. I'm ending the show right now. If you never get the call back to come back, this is why.
I would consider myself spiritual. I mean, I don't take astrology.
I feel like we need more questions to come to this conclusion, and I need more than just astrology as to why you're spiritual. I will say that I think spiritual, I will give you. I will not say that those questions is what summed it up.
No, of course not. It's just a fun little game.
BuzzFeed. Awesome. You won.
I mean, how many quizzes did you take with the age of 10, 15 years old? Who's your soulmate? Who's your celebrity crush? Who's your celebrity twin? It's all for fun and games. It's entertainment purposes. We know it's not real. And if you don't know, it's not real.
So you're not spiritual?
I mean, yes, I am.
Would you like to think so?
I do.
You're more zen.
Well, I am a zen individual, I would like to believe. Sometimes, my chakras are a little out of line. It's chakras. My chakras. My chakras. But...
Chakras or chakras?
Chakras.
Shock.
Yes.
It's
shock. Yeah, it's shocking.
Chakras.
Chakras. Mm-hmm. Just like that.
Chakras. Chakra bleu. That just sounds like sacre bleu. Hi.
But anyway, I actually see that a lot. I think it is a lot more common with millennials. That I do see people more leaning towards the spirituality side of things over than traditional religion. Kind of finding their own path. Highlighting the things that like maybe like things that they were brought up with that they don't necessarily agree with once they've gotten like old enough to kind of do their research for themselves. That's kind of like where I am at like this point.
What's your religion?
I was raised Roman Catholic. I was baptized and went through communion, but I have not been in.
Do you identify as a Roman Catholic?
No.
Is it because you're a girl?
No. Why? What does that have to do with?
They didn't touch you.
Yeah, it's not fair. Not a cool club. No. My kind of like thing. I had a really poor experience when I was about 14, 15 years old. One of the last couple times that I actually went to church with my grandparents, the priest was talking about how we live to serve God, but the way he put it out was that we are slaves to God, and slaves, obviously, a word that I never want to have associated with me or anybody ever again. It was at that point when I started.
Check your white female privilege there, slave owner. You colonist.
I am a light-colored Hispanic woman, thank you. And according to my recent 23andMe, I am 42% Persian. Thank you very much. Persian.
Mm-hmm. Woohoo! It would be great to validate this information if your sister would just take the 23andMe. If your sister would just do it.
It is now May the 8th, I believe, and
as 9th as of recording this.
May 9th. Okay. And she received this 23andMe kit as a gift for her 25th birthday from me, her darling sister, on September the 29th, 2018.
Wait, are you serious? She got it before me?
I think, yeah. Yeah, she got it for her birthday.
Because I got mine for Christmas, right? Christmas?
Something like that. So, yes. Bridget, you still haven't taken it. It's like,
I'm putting this podcast out there for the world to hear, and I'm going to shame you. Spit in the tube. That's what she said.
Spit in the goddamn tube.
Spit. Yeah. How's that going to cool you down? I can't believe it. Are you eager for her to take it just because you spent money on it, or is it because you want to know her background and see if you were like switched at birth or something?
I am very interested to see what we carry, between the both of us. I actually have a friend who is a twin, and even though they're not identical, their results for their DNA actually came out slightly different. One had traces of Hawaiian in her blood, and the other one completely did not. So it kind of makes me curious about what my sister has, and maybe I don't, or what she has primarily of, and I only have a little pinch of. It's more comparing notes. It's fascinating to me.
I like my version because you paid for it. So she should. So rewind. Say that again. So she should. Oh my God, I can't say it. So she should spit in the tube. Got it.
Yes.
Third try.
Yes.
Get
Please
it.
spit in the tube.
Yeah. Who? Do you trust those results though?
I mean, I don't know the process. I don't know if I fully do or not. I would like to think so. I would like to think that I invested in something to get some really good concrete results on my genealogy background, because when I tried to get information from my grandparents, they apparently don't remember so many names in their family, and that kind of makes it a little bit difficult to grow a family tree and actually get legitimate answers other than this side's from Mexico, this side's from Spain. Well, somebody came from Iran, and I'm going to try to plant that out.
Did you ever do that ancestry tree thing?
I think I played with Ancestry.com once as maybe when I was like 12 or something, because I saw it advertised on television, but I never really put it together or paid for the membership.
Okay.
Have you?
Yes.
Okay. And did you get far with that?
Kind of, surprisingly. A lot of things was dating back. There's a lot of things that rooted to Arkansas. My mom's background started showing up on the app, which was weird.
So great grandma then?
Even beyond that.
Oh, okay.
Which is weird because now I can't talk to my grandma about it because she passed. But I remember asking her a lot of questions back when she was still here with us, and I asked her, give me your mom and dad's last name, and then what was your grandparents' name? So my great grandparents, and first nothing. I just put the information out there. Whatever she gave me, I logged it, and then that was it. And it wasn't until like 2 or 3 years later that it pinged all these things, and so I logged on and I saw that it's like, oh, John, so and so is connected to your grandmother through this heritage and this link. And so my whole mom's side, at least with my grandmother, had this whole spreading out thing. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I got to see back to I think it was the mid 1800s.
That's so cool.
I think. Yeah, it had to have been. I think it was the mid 1800s.
I think I can only get as far back as the people I've actually met, my great grandparents, and that's the early 1900s.
My grandfather on my dad's side, the Cuban, came from Cuba. Nothing. I'm never gonna know that information.
I mean, he's still alive. You could ask.
I could, but he doesn't know his family like that. When he fled Cuba, it was, harsh times and stuff like that. And that information's gone and lost.
I guess that's the feeling that my grandparents shared as well on my father's side, because when I tried to ask them about what are their grandparents' last names, like something that they should know, fairly well, considering that they do not suffer from memory problems, that they didn't cling on to like any names because they just wanted to kind of like disassociate from certain sides of the family and just kind of wanted to start their own thing. I mean, if you think about it, it's like millennials, trying to start their own like new, it factor thing, our own flavor, if you will. I mean, every generation has done it.
About what?
I mean, we'll talk about this. Like, I mean, like my grandparents, I believe they're classified as baby boomers based on their ages. And they wanted to completely flee away from their traditional norms of their older families, like their grandparents and their parents. So they pretty much ran off and started like their own family and started like building up their own like household, their own rules, their own new culture. And, so that literally is, people say that about like millennials. It's like, oh, we're changing things. It's like, well, yes, every generation has proven to go out and want to change things and make things their own.
I think we're the most, like, how do I word it? I think we're the most flexible generation.
What do you mean?
I think we like very early on, like I think it was the society around us that we adapt quicker. Then we're not stubborn to changes and stuff like that, because we can't, and because it's not in our nature. We evolve over time and stuff like that. But I think we like inherently, naturally will adjust to the times and just like adapt to what's going on for survival, maybe. But like you see people like, no, they'll have to take me kicking and screaming and blah, 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 blah. I don't hear that much coming from millennials as a whole. It's like, no, if they want a change, like they change it, literally make something new. I think I've seen more small businesses and mama papa shops, so to say, but on the online side, people make things because they didn't like how things were before. That's how Facebook came around, which changed up everything. Even MySpace before that. And MySpace, good old Tom Anderson, everybody's first friend.
What up, Tom?
I miss that guy.
My oldest online friend.
Yeah. He retired. He cashed out, took his millions and millions, and just he's living out the rest of his days doing what he liked. And I'm like, God, that guy did it right.
I do agree with what you're saying, though, about how millennials tend to adapt a little bit and are a little bit more open to change because, I mean, not only myself, but I mean, having conversations with many different other people, different personality types, I've been able to hold conversations of things that go against the grain with them a little bit. And, there's the people that are obviously like, oh, yeah, totally, like, I'm all about it. And then there's other people that at first might be like a little hesitant, but they'll like think about it a little bit. They'll marinate in it and they'll be like, you know what? I can kind of see where your point of view is on this. It's like, so I definitely can see, I definitely see where there's not a lot of people really like sticking their ground, and being like, no, this is how it needs to be. This is how it always be. And a story. I don't really hear that at all. I hear that from, much older people.
You know how when they says like, because I said.
Oh my God, that used to drive me crazy. Thankfully, I didn't get that too much as a child, but I definitely.
Because I said so.
Because I said so. Yes. It's, yeah, that a whole like authoritative role.
Your mom's against that.
She, I guess.
She told me. I remember her telling me like in
Yeah.
depth, and I was like, "Oh, now look at you, progressive thinking and all."
Yeah, that's like she was the progressive Gen X from the baby boomers. Yes, she was telling me about how when she was younger, she was told because
Then how come she's not a liberal?
I have a lot of theories as to why my mother's not a liberal, but we can have that conversation at a later date.
Is she, do you think she's going to listen to this podcast?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, man. With such forward-thinking ideology, accepting, homosexuality so early on and saying, I'm not going to say because I said so and her isms and stuff like that.
Oh,
Fuck! Yeah. Didn't mean to name drop. I'm gonna cut that out. But yeah, with that and stuff like that, like
no, she definitely was definitely rebellious towards like the older generations. I think she probably was a little bit more rebellious than me.
So they say, if she's listening to this, I'm sure she'll be more than happy to tell me. But they say, if you are not a liberal when you're young, you have no soul. And if you're still liberal by the time you're older, then you're just stupid.
Who said that?
I'm not going to name drop.
Okay, well, I haven't heard that before. I have been surrounded by a lot of conservatives in my upbringing.
But we're millennials. We don't identify the labels, man.
We do not like labels. No, I definitely do not like
labels.
They're
restricting.
They are. It color coats you to just be like everybody else. And it's like, but are we really all in one group or the other? We're really not. I completely disagree.
Everything changes. But that goes back to my point of like we adapt. If on a political spectrum, if I see somebody who is more aligned to what I believe in at that time in my life, regardless of the party, I don't care. I'm gonna lean towards that person. There are times when I've liked Democratic candidates, and there were times when I've liked Republican candidates, and I've chose to always keep an open mind to everything and listen to all sides based off of my own personal selfish desires, because that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, when people are like trying to make these arguments about religion or more popularly now politics and stuff like that, it's all for selfish needs, because it's whatever benefits that individual person. If that means lower tax breaks because people make a lot of money, why wouldn't you? And if some people are like, no, I need the welfare money, then why wouldn't you? It's all about being selfish at the end. So I don't pretend that I'm not being selfish at any point when it comes to politics, and I will lean towards what benefits me or my family at the end of the day over anything else, which most of the time kind of puts me more on the libertarian spectrum. But I don't like labels.
Because I'm a millennial.
Yeah, because I'm a millennial. That's the only label I'll take, baby. I don't care what happens socially if it doesn't affect me. If I have to pay for it, now we can talk about it.
I think the ultimate problem for me is that so I'm in a customer service field, and the two no-nos that I have learned back in school, like as an elementary student, to even like now in my profession, is that there's two things you do not talk about in public, and that is
Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior.
That is religion, and it is politics. Why? Because no one, like two people, have the exact same core values and beliefs, and I believe that you need to respect everybody and their own individual.
Well, the reason why you don't bring it up is because people don't know how to show respect. People are so narcissistic and so insecure about their narcissism that they are dying to find somebody to see it their way so they feel less alone about it. People who are like, no, why didn't you vote for Mitt Romney back in 2012? He had because they're so insecure about something that the only way anybody, and I see this on any spectrum, even people with the Bernie Sanders and the Hillary Clintons and all stuff a couple of years ago. Now we're going back into it now with next year being election year. People are so insecure about their own beliefs that the only way they can find validation is other people saying, yeah, you're right, because they're that type of narcissist. They're not even a confident narcissist.
I think the problem with also that people take on politics too is that they believe that there is a right side and there's a wrong side. And that
right, because one side definitely wants to like really ruin the world.
yeah, exactly. It's like one side just like hates everybody, and the other side.
It makes for good TV, which is why all these news stations are just selling tabloids at this point.
And this is why I don't like having cable anymore, because I can completely avoid all the political conversation. I've gotten off of Facebook because of all the politics on there. It feels so nice.
What's your social media of choice?
Instagram is just photos, and they're not like terrible photos because people think twice about what they post on Instagram.
What's your Instagram handle? How can people find you? Or do you not want them to find you?
Anybody can find me. My Instagram handle is @BritTheBarber, spelled BRIT, the barber.
All one word?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all together.
Cool. So, do you use Snapchat still?
No. I don't give snaps. I just get them.
So are you not a fan of using the stories feature on Instagram?
I do like the stories feature.
Yo, Instagram is the best like social media app because you can choose what you want to see now. So if somebody gets overly political, unfollow them.
You know what?
It's hard to be political in photos.
So I, for the most part, follow the same people on Instagram as I did on Facebook. And the people that are overly political on Facebook, I notice that they hardly ever post anything on Instagram because they think twice about the type of photos that they want on their profile page. They don't want to post, propaganda photos and links about, animal abuse or, why this other political candidate should have gotten the vote. They don't post that type of thing on there.
I hated Facebook the moment I started seeing like violent videos unfiltered. I know they've gotten better at cracking down, but like when I saw people abusing animals or when I saw like people being murdered and stuff like that, I'm like, this is a disgusting platform.
They still have it there.
It turned into the dark web on an app, and I'm like, this is bad. And when you get so big, when Facebook is that big and they can't regulate it as such, I'm like, it's toxic at that point.
Yeah, and if it's not toxic with people just sharing very ugly, hateful things, then it's just a bunch of ads. A bunch of annoying, obnoxious ads.
I love the ads I get on Instagram.
Yo, the ads on Instagram have given me so many links to small businesses like overseas. Like a pair of my favorite pants I got from, I think, Indonesia.
Yeah.
It's like, and I would have never been able to find anything like that out here in the States. Nothing I can buy. It's fantastic. Lots of clothing brands I've actually found online, handmade soaps, Etsy shops, that type of thing. I love it. I'm all about it, supporting the small business.
So you like the fact that small businesses, why am I twisting? Small businesses or even individual sole proprietors are doing advertising on like Instagram, and you like supporting the small business factor because they're not like a Walmart or a Target?
You find more unique, creative things. I noticed that there's not a lot of people out there that make handmade items anymore. True. So I deeply appreciate those who do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, things like that where I know that I'm not only investing money into a unique item that you can't find anywhere that was maybe handcrafted and one of its kind is in my possession. That makes me feel so much better about my purchase, and I'm helping support a small business that's trying to get on their feet.
Yeah.
Everything ties in very, very smoothly.
I don't know if the things I bought off of Instagram ads are small businesses or not, but I like them.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But the whole like privacy information thing, they're like, oh, they send your you give up all that privacy the moment you get a smartphone.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with smartphones is that literally.
Which is why I like to take like 1,000,000 photos of my butthole so I can just scar the next person, whoever tries to hack my phone.
Oh my jeez. There's just, I don't know. It's like I can get
let that sink in for a second. You're welcome.
I can get into a whole tangent about, smartphones and the government and all stuff like that. But
do you like your smartphone though?
Yes, I do. Like, for what it's worth, I like the quality of like the photos that I can take. I like the access to my bank account, with just, little like, thumb ID or like Face ID. I like to be able to
You're the type of
access
person
things.
who does not upgrade your phone for nothing.
Why? I don't need to.
I'm over here doing it like every 2 months, and like I know you're gonna hold on to that phone. You have the iPhone 10R, and that's gonna be around for a long. Because before that, you had the iPhone 7, and even then, you were fine with the iPhone 7, and I'm like, no, you need to get this because before that, you had the iPhone 5S.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh wait, no, you had the 6S. So
No,
you were doing the 2-month upgrades.
I did not do the 6. I had the 5S.
You had 5S. You went from 5S to 6S, and then when switching carriers, you went 6S to 7.
No, I went 5S to 7, and then I did 7 again over when I switched carriers from Sprint to T-Mobile. I did 7 twice. With that being said, yes, I tend to keep my phone until I pay it off because I do monthly installments, so about 2 years roughly. And then if it starts acting up, like maybe it's not like, battery's not staying charged as well or it's glitching out on me, then that's when I consider getting a new phone.
If the battery drops 1% like 20 minutes sooner than I expected, that's it, mister. I'm swapping you out and getting a newer one.
We are two very different people when it comes to technology. I really don't necessarily need technology all that much. I'm the type of person to where...
do you think we need this specific one, like mobile phones and stuff like that? This is the future. This is the future is now. You agree that this is your primary computer?
It is, yes. Like I get all my information, pretty much on my phone. The only time I ever really need, well, it's like, no, I don't really need a computer for that many things anymore because my smartphone can do it. I can even print from my phone. So
you can?
Yeah.
Cool. But you still got that MacBook, which is going to last you a long time.
Yeah, I like it for to be able to use a Word doc.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think we hit our hour.
Well, this has been fun.
This has been fun. This has been enlightening, spiritual, if you will, with your testing. Would you like to tell people where to find you again, or do they have to go back and listen to it?
I'll just remind it again. It's like, so I'm Britney, and I am a barber. So you can find me on Instagram at Brit, B-R-I-T, the barber. All one word.
So if you're in the San Diego area and you are looking for some haircuts, some shaves, if you will.
I'm your guy.
She's your guy.
But I don't like labels.
Before we go, though, really quickly, how does it, I just, for the record, put it out there. How does it feel being a female in a barber industry?
Oh, it's boss.
It's boss?
It's totally
How
boss.
many female barbers are there?
I'm the only one in my shop.
How many do you know exist out there?
It's a very small percentage. I don't know the exact statistics on it, but to give you an idea, that when I went to go my state licensing exam mid-year last year, there were about 150 people taking the cosmetology license exam, and there was 10 total for the barber exam.
Wow.
Yes, so it's not very popular. Barbering as a whole is an up-and-coming back type of thing. But even still, getting females into that industry, it's rather intimidating. You definitely have to have tough skin, for this type of thing.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I was just wondering. You can follow me, Instagram, Randy_Vasquez, VAZQUEZ. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Randy Vasquez, no underscore. Follow the show. Millennial. Wait, hang on. I always mess this up. I have so many shows now. It's getting kind of out of hand. But on the podcast, I'm sorry, not on the podcast. Look, I'm put on the spot. That's what's going on here. On Instagram, if you want to follow the show, it's Millennial Mindset Show. One word, Millennial Mindset Show. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, which I will definitely be on a lot more. That handle is _MM_show. So the Millennial Mindset Show, but MM underscores in between the words.
It's the M&M show.
It's the M&M show. The _MM _show. Woo! Links to all that stuff will probably be in the description down below. I'll probably put this up on YouTube as an audio only just because we didn't record this. It was a last minute thing. And lastly, guys and gals, if you're digging the show, give us a rate or rate us on iTunes. It helps the algorithm. Leave us a review, like, comment, subscribe, share. You know what to do, all that fun stuff. And we will be back again whenever I get another person on this. If you are a millennial and you know me and you want to be on the show, reach out to me. Otherwise, it might be Heather again. I might have it might be myself. I don't know. But all the same, we'll catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.